Hello, this is the video for the final project in CS4900 at Ohio University. For this project, I decided to take several of the things that we've learned throughout the semester and roll them into a kind of a simple little game to play. So I'll go ahead and boot it up. It'll take a little bit of a moment, especially since I'm recording. But I just decided to call it Maze Escape because it's basically what it is. We can move about. There's nothing here really for now, but we go ahead and press enter. We can see that we have a maze to navigate here. You're going to start at this blue square, and you have to get through to the end and avoiding these enemies as well. It's a little bit slow because partly because of the recording software, but we're looking for a green ending square, and it's on the opposite corner of the starting square, and we win. The other way to end the game is to get caught by one of those things. I'm going to go ahead and try and do that. We can't move up or down either. It's completely forbidden. But if we get caught by one of these virus-looking things, we lose. Not much to really show off besides that. You can run into walls. A couple of the glitches right now is that you can kind of stick your head through walls. Can't really go through them. That's intended, but I gotta rework the collision in order to prevent being able to stick your face through. And you may have noticed, especially in the first run, but sometimes there's a movement, a little bit of a jagged alteration between some of the spaces, like right here. I don't actually know what's going on here. I don't actually know when it happens or where it's happening at. But the one thing I do know is that it does not prevent progression, so nothing here is really game-breaking. Seems to kind of happen more often when you cross planes, but otherwise, just go ahead and make your way in. And the reason why it's slow right now is probably because I'm recording. And there's some algorithm stuff going on with the enemies themselves. So I'll go ahead and try and trail one and show off how the enemy works. I gotta go ahead and find one. By default, there's only 4 strung about in this whole maze. There's one. So it'll start making a sound as it chases you, and it will only chase you about 5 tiles away. You can see those things are still kind of doing their own thing. And they also won't about face completely. Kind of like Pac-Man ghosts. They won't turn around unless there's a dead end, and that's the only move they can make. But other than that, they just kind of move about randomly until they get within a certain distance of you. Then they'll chase you. And they'll only make the sound effects when they're chasing you, so you can see them coming. So they're kind of all over me, but you can't outrun them. You as the player will be able to outrun them. And if you group them up, not much else they can do to corner you or anything. There's no different AIs like the Pac-Man ghosts have. Yeah, other than that, they just kind of, roam about until they see you, then they go after you. It's pretty cool seeing all this stuff put together. Sounds. We got some nice background music going on here. I think it fits the mood a lot, since it's kind of a more puzzle type of game, and this comes from a puzzly type of game as well. Not much else to say about this. It's basically just a 3D representation of a 2D game, and I always like that kind of thing. It's cool to see. For me, just the 3D representations of formerly 2D games. So, but this isn't actually where it ends completely. there's a couple of configuration values that you can make. All the way down here at the end, we can modify the size of the board. If I make it smaller, for example, we'll see that there's much less stuff. Removal chance. This is the chance of a wall to get randomly removed after the initial maze has been generated. So if you make this 0, you're just going to get the original maze, no alterations. You probably saw when I was going through those games that there were a lot of like open areas and a lot of just splits. That's where this removal chance got triggered. But if I make this 1, it's going to be one big giant room. Chase distance is the amount of tiles that one of those enemies will start chasing you from. So the higher this number is, the farther out it can see you. If you increase this number, it will probably become harder in theory because they'll start chasing you sooner. But it may also be the case that it could become easier because you might be able to group them up easier. Spawn distance is just the minimum distance that one of the enemies will start from you. If you make this number bigger, you're going to have a larger safe area initially. If you make the number smaller, there's a chance that enemies can spawn right in front of you. Enemy speed is just the speed. If you increase this, it could become the case that they become faster than the player, which maybe that's desirable. Who knows? Number of enemies is pretty self-explanatory. It's just how many enemies appear. So if I change all those and rerun the game, it doesn't require any additional compiling or anything. And remember, I made the board shorter. I removed all the walls because of the removal chance is 100%. And I only made there become 2 enemies. There were 4 before. So yeah, exactly what I expected. 2 enemies, we can see them pretty clearly without running walls around. No walls, and the board size is significantly smaller. Obviously, that version isn't really fun to play, but it's basically just to show off what this can do. I'll increase it a little bit more. And we got a lot because it's actually rendering a lot of objects. But it is huge, and we only see 2 enemies. Probably wouldn't recommend this method. I'll have to definitely rework how it generates these objects to render them. So it'll probably be slower, and it's probably also because of my recording software. But the point is, these values are easily changeable. And these are also the default values that I give you as well. 4 enemies. This is about 1 tile per second for the enemies, maybe 2 seconds probably. 3 tiles spawn distance, 5 chase distance, 30% chance of any given wall being removed. Technically, this does mean that you could get an original maze, as well as you could get a blank room, but realistically, with every single wall, probably not going to happen. But that's really all I got. I had wanted to add some power-ups or special abilities that the player could use. Timing-wise, just didn't work out, but I can still work on it. It's just not going to count as part of the final project. But the overall algorithm that uses the maze is it's a version of the depth first search algorithm. It's basically just creates the maze depth first. All the walls are existent. Randomly chooses a unvisited neighbor to visit, removes the wall between them, rinse and repeat is pretty much the gist of it. Simple search for maze generating algorithms will bring you to a Wikipedia site with all that there, but I made use of the Dijkstra, sort of. It's more of a breadth first search algorithm since there's no weights along with this, but that's the algorithm I used to see if the enemies could reach the player, if they should be able to chase them. But other than that, it's basically just rendering manipulation and game logic. And I'll end off with one final play of the game. I didn't actually save. That would generally be helpful to do. There we go. Oh, you can see I actually kind of a little bit got unlucky there with the spawn being so close, but... Oh, and I got really unlucky. That is something I did just show off there, is that you can actually avoid the enemies if you really sneak by them. It's kind of hard to do and you could get caught, but the overall AI, the enemies won't, if you're in the same tile as an enemy, they won't actually chase you until they reach the center of the tile, and then they'll go for you if you're still inside that tile. But, again, could be hard to achieve that at all, especially if you get caught up by something else. But yeah, that's what I got for my final project.